There are stories that require courage to be told. And this is one of those stories. It's not your typical marriage story. It is a journey of love, bonds, and boundaries put to the test. It is a fight for a couple's survival. Before I continue, I ask you to give a like to the video and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and you help me to continue bringing you more stories. Thank you. Let's continue. Joshua and Sarah's story begins in a way that is as uncomfortable as it is intriguing. Now, what would you do? How far would you be willing to go? I think it's best to start at the beginning, because this wasn't just a simple, momentary mistake. It was much more than that. If you like this kind of real and shocking stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And of course, leave a comment below to raise awareness. Hi, my name is Sarah, and this story, I don't even know how to describe it. It's the kind of story I never thought I would tell, but it's so crazy that I couldn't keep it just for myself. Maybe there's a lesson in all this. So here goes. I met Joshua in college, and we had been together for almost 10 years. We were the couple everyone called perfect, always laughing and sharing stories. But between raising our 2 kids and dealing with our busy lives, it all started to get monotonous. Maybe some of you know that feeling. Falling into a routine, losing those little moments of connection with time. One night, while we were having dinner alone, Joshua suggested something that took me completely by surprise. He said he felt we weren't connecting like we used to, and proposed trying something different. At first, I was a bit taken aback. What he was proposing was to invite new people into our social lives. Not in a romantic way, just as friends to add some sparkle to our meetings and conversations. I was wary at first, but thought it might be a harmless way to bring some variety. So I agreed. The following week, we went to a party at Joshua's friend's house. He had invited some new people he had recently connected with. Thomas was a basketball fanatic, Aaron, a tech enthusiast with very interesting stories, and Isaiah, the guy with the warmest, most laid-back personality in the group. They were respectful, friendly, and to be honest, a lot of fun to hang out with. Over the next few weeks, we started meeting regularly as a group. Joshua was really happy with this new dynamic. But something unexpected started to happen. I was really enjoying spending time with these new friends, and I noticed that they seemed to be paying quite a bit of attention to me as well. It wasn't anything inappropriate, just a little extra kindness, some compliments, and a lot of laughter. For the first time in years, I felt seen and appreciated. One night after one of these meetings, while at home with Joshua, he surprised me with a question. He asked me if I felt any special connection with any of our new friends. He told me that he had noticed how well we all got along. I tried to make light of it and joke about it, but he persisted, suggesting that maybe a little innocent flirting wouldn't hurt our marriage. That conversation took us into new and unknown territory. We began to talk openly about feelings we would normally have kept to ourselves. It was weird, maybe a little uncomfortable, but also exciting. We felt like we were breaking something, reaching a new level of honesty. Joshua admitted that he was curious and excited to see me interact with other people. And I confessed to him that I had enjoyed feeling appreciated again. Shortly thereafter, we came to some sort of agreement. We decided to give ourselves some freedom within these friendships, knowing that it was all to revitalize our marriage. There were no plans to take things further or cross boundaries. We both agreed on that. A week later, Joshua suggested hosting a small gathering at our house. We invited Thomas, Aaron, and Isaiah, and it turned out to be a really fun night. The guys brought food, we shared a few drinks, and I, for the first time in a long time, felt completely comfortable. Joshua was in his element as host, making sure everyone had a good time. It felt like a social experiment, but it was genuine and sincere. As the night progressed, I found myself in a small group with Thomas, Aaron, and Isaiah. We talked about our lives, childhood memories, and even a bit about relationships. They made me laugh like I hadn't in years, and for a moment I almost forgot the situation I was in. It was just funny. Joshua was nearby, smiling and encouraging me to enjoy the conversation. At one point, Aaron made a joking comment. "It's hard to believe that a woman like you would be real." It was a nice compliment, but I laughed, and let it go. However, as I looked at Joshua, I noticed that he was almost approving with a nod of his head. That little bit of eye contact said it all. He's in complete agreement. After everyone left, Joshua and I sat down, and he asked me if I had enjoyed the evening. I told him the truth. Yes, the experience had made me feel free, even though nothing inappropriate had happened. But Joshua was not satisfied. He asked me if I had special feelings for anyone in particular. His question took me by surprise, as if he was expecting me to confess something that didn't exist. His insistence made me uncomfortable. Over the next few days, Joshua's curiosity intensified. He began asking me detailed questions about my interactions with our new friends, reminding me of moments I had already forgotten. At first, I thought it was just the thrill of the social experiment, but I soon realized that Joshua expected me to feel something deeper. One night, I decided to confront his attitude. I asked him why he was so insistent and why he was so encouraging me to explore connections that were clearly platonic. I was taken aback by his response. He confessed to me that he felt inadequate, that he thought he no longer made me happy like he used to. He was looking for something that could excite me and fill that emptiness he thought I felt. His confession was both sad and touching. I had always seen Joshua as strong and confident, but now I had in front of me a man full of insecurities, looking for answers. I told Joshua that my happiness did not depend on other people. It depended on the bond we had built together. For the first time in a long time, we felt a closeness and sincerity we hadn't felt in years. We began to openly accept our fears and concerns. Instead of ignoring the cracks in our relationship, we talked about them. And that made us feel closer. Despite this, Joshua's curiosity didn't completely disappear. A few weeks later, he suggested organizing a barbecue in the garden and inviting Thomas, Aaron, and Isaiah again. The evening was very pleasant. We ate, laughed, and had deep conversations. Later, I ended up in a corner with the three of them, talking under the stars about our lives, relationships, and dreams. Each had a different perspective, and the talk was so honest and authentic. I didn't realize how the time passed. At one point, Thomas started talking about relationships and said how important honesty was to him. Aaron added that loyalty was his greatest value, and Isaiah, with his calm wisdom, commented, "For a bond to be strong, trust is critical." His words touched me deeply. It was as if they were expressing things that I had felt were missing in my life for some time. As the evening came to an end, I walked them to the door. Thomas turned and said to me, "Thank you for tonight, Sarah. You and Joshua have something really special." Aaron nodded and added, "It's rare to see a couple with so much trust in each other." Isaiah, with a smile, just said, "Take care, Sarah." His words echoed in my mind throughout the night. When I returned to the house, I found Joshua waiting for me. There was something in his expression, something deep and difficult to decipher. He asked me if I had enjoyed the evening. I told him the truth. Yes, it had been very nice. But that answer wasn't enough for Joshua. He started asking me more questions. If I had felt a special connection with any of them. His questions made me uncomfortable because I felt like he was constantly trying to push the boundaries between us. Joshua's attitude began to make me uneasy. Why was he so insistent? I was afraid it might hurt our marriage, but I also didn't want to hurt his feelings. So I told him plainly that I felt no emotional or romantic connection to either of them. Joshua's expression didn't change, however. It was as if he was waiting for me to feel something I didn't feel. This constant back and forth left me in an emotional whirlwind. Was it Joshua's love that was making him act this way, or did it reflect his own insecurities? Finally, one day I couldn't take it anymore and decided to be completely honest with him. I explained how his questions made me uncomfortable and how they were further complicating our relationship. Joshua took a deep breath, looked me in the eye, and said, "I just wanted to make you happy." His words broke my heart. Joshua was willing to put himself on the back burner just to see me happy. After Joshua's confession, we both had to stop and assess the situation. He had put aside his own needs and emotions to try to make me happy, but that effort was having the opposite effect. I told him that he didn't need to sacrifice himself to make me happy. that what we really needed was to rebuild the bond between us. After that conversation, things calmed down for a while. However, the idea of Joshua's experiment seemed to have taken over our relationship. After a while, he proposed to set up another meeting with the group. Although I was hesitant at first, I agreed because I trusted him. Thomas, Aaron, and Isaiah returned to our house, but this time, the atmosphere was not as relaxed as before. Joshua was trying to lead the conversation and constantly trying to put me at the center of everything. It was hard not to notice. I felt like I was pushing the boundaries in front of everyone. At one point, Joshua suggested we play a little game. At first, it seemed like something fun and light, but over time, the mood began to change. The game led us to ask more personal questions of each other. The questions started out innocent, but then became more private and uncomfortable. What disturbed me most was that Joshua seemed to be encouraging this dynamic. During the game, Thomas paused for a moment. He looked at me and asked, "Are you comfortable playing this?" That question made me realize that we were crossing boundaries. I regained my composure and said, "Maybe we should take a break from the game." At that point, Joshua stepped in to change the subject and tried to end the night on a more normal note. But inside, I felt like everything was spiraling out of control. That night, after everyone left, Joshua and I sat down to talk openly about what was going on. I explained how this insistence on pushing boundaries was making me uncomfortable, and how it was even putting our marriage at risk. Joshua's eyes filled with tears, and he told me, "I just want to see you shine again." I knew it was a struggle for him too, but we both had to understand that this attempt to revive our relationship was driving us apart instead of bringing us closer. A few days later, Joshua and I decided to have a serious talk about where this experiment was taking us and what it meant for our marriage. He confessed to me that he had started this to try to make me happy again. But we also realized that what we really needed was not in other people, but in regaining the connection between us. So we decided to end this social experiment altogether. We wanted to focus on our life and our marriage in a healthier way. We committed to rediscovering each other, to understanding each other's desires and fears. And in that process, we realized that everything we needed had always been there, our love for each other.